Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Good evening, my fellow Fox fans. How are we doing? Got any hair left? Got any nails left? What a night. I went through a couple of emotions, not motions, although that's another story, but I did go through some emotions. Anyway, welcome along, and you are watching
Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
Indeed we are. We are everywhere. 3-3 it was, and welcome along. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. For those of you that are listening in afterwards on Spotify or Google Podcasts, welcome along. We are available on both of those platforms under Leicester Till I Die. And if you are watching us live, you can find us in two places: YouTube live, which is Leicester Till I Die TV, and Facebook live. And if you are on Facebook live and you want to have a comment, please, or on YouTube, please do. If you're on Facebook, just click on the StreamYard, put my teeth in, StreamYard logo, and that's not easy for me to say, and that just brings your name up and we can say hello and welcome to you. I'm going to put, well, Brad, I think, has put it in the group of where you can click on to join us. If you want to come on and actually have a cam chat with us as well, we can get you on camera. I'm going to sort of do that in a minute. Somebody says, hello, Chris. Again, no idea who you are, mate, because it just says Facebook user. So, but hello, whoever you are, welcome along. 3-3. Like I say, I don't know. I wear this hat because I've got no hair left following Leicester. But somebody who has got plenty of hair, and I think he's probably going to need it this season, is my Tuesday chum and my post-match chum, Brad. Good evening, Brad. Let's get you in. Hello there.
Good evening, Chris. How are you?
I can't speak tonight. I don't know what it is. Honestly, this is water. All right, it's not vodka or gin, but I feel like I've had a few. Feel like I needed a few.
Yeah, it was a very strange game from start to finish. I think it was an interesting one, and I can think of less stressful ways we could have qualified tonight, but I'll definitely take qualifying one way or another, even though it was a scary game to watch.
Yes, it certainly was. Good evening to Matthew, and nice to have you along. And also good evening to Brookline, which is Brookline G there from Boston in the USA. Are you trying to think what time it'll be there with you? Up late, up early? Thanks for joining us, whichever it is. You're most welcome. What did you guys think of the game? You're going to hear what me and Brad thought, but we want to know what you thought as well. Let us know in the comments and see. Let's start right at the beginning. I always find it's a good place to start. Lineup, Brad, what did you think of the lineup? I mean, we say this every week. We're kind of tied with what we can go for. Any surprises in there for you?
Yes and no. I think there was some obvious surprises, but maybe our situation was the reason the surprises weren't so surprising. Like,
yeah,
I mean, Thomas and Justin getting a run. We started off without Fofana at the centre back. We go unders, less surprising for a start, but obviously we got players that like Fuchs were playing as well, and it wasn't the strongest lineup we could have gone with, but I think given the situation in that competition and given what happened at the weekend, I think it wasn't overall surprising. It might have been surprising that they may have started, but the players that played tonight at the start of the game were probably expected to feature at some point, just maybe not in the way they did.
Yeah,
For
I
fans,
think it was a game. Actually, I think you can look at sort of any game. We're playing so many at the moment, and always go with, like we've said before, with what Rogers chooses, because we don't always have a lot of choice. Although obviously it's slowly getting better week in week out. But it was definitely a game of two and a bit halves, wasn't it? Because the first half and start of the second, it was like we were still playing Liverpool. We looked a bit leggy. We weren't sort of in control. We weren't attacking. It was very sort of leggy again, if you like. And then obviously the game came to life.
Yeah, that's true. And I think I'm going to get this out of the way so the pitch talkers have a chance to calm down on me for the statement. But I think Johnny Evans tonight looked a little bit maybe mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
Maybe his age a little bit played a part, but he looked very poor in my opinion tonight. And I think that's, we're talking a guy who was on top form, and then in the space of a couple of weeks he's knocked out the Euros, scores an own goal and doesn't play brilliantly. Granted, no one did realistically against Liverpool, we know that. And then tonight was, in my opinion, definitely the last goal at fault for it, because yes, Fofana was beaten in a foot race, but Fofana wasn't fully fit. That's still a bit worried to me. I hope that's not something longer when he kind of sprang up, because he was not getting outpaced all night, and he got outpaced for that purely because that injury is clearly holding him back. But Evans maybe needs a rest, I think, and I think that was showing tonight.
He definitely got caught out for their third. Facebook user is saying here, no sound. I can hear you, Brad. You're answering my questions, so I can presume you can hear me. And I take it Brookline's replied to my comment, so presumably he can hear. Facebook user might be your end, but the lady will be calling you soon. So and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, mate.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh no, somebody else has said here sound is fine. So I think it's just somebody's having a few teething problems. I'll just see if I can go on and find your post here, Brad. But 4 minutes in, 1-0 down, and I must admit, I looked at my son and I thought, is it going to be one of those nights?
Well, let's think about it on a whole this season. I think apart from Arsenal and Villa, we're quite used to conceding early, so I wasn't too worried at that point. I was probably more worried depending on what he did at half-time, and I think we'll get onto the manager ratings that were given by Alan later on, because I do agree with them to a point, but we'll get onto it later on. But when you're going out that side, you're thinking, right, what is Rodgers going to stick with this? The 2-1 down? Is he going to let this play out and save the better players or the more regular first team players for later on, and hope that these guys can pull it back? And again, we'll talk about the second half once we're done with the first. But I was nervous at 2-1 at half time. That's when I was nervous. I was oddly used to being 1-0 down after the first 5 minutes in games. So that didn't worry me too much at that point.
But it was a great, well taken, a bit of a mistake in fairness by Braga. But the opposition can make mistakes. It's whether you take advantage of them. And I think you can actually say that for once Barnes did. And from where I won, it's. I thought he'd missed it to start with, but he took it well.
Funny enough, I was watching it, and as Barnes hit it, typical for me, it froze.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it, and all I could see was this white blur that looked like it was either behind the net or in the net, and then luckily it rebooted and it actually replayed the goal as if it was live and then caught up. So I did eventually see it, but on first glimpse I was like, is it level? Has he missed?
Yeah.
Barnes, I don't want to be harsh, but it looks like he's missed.
I
know what you mean. You joined us last time. It's good to see you back.
Welcome back, Pam. A happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I think Pam has been on before. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving as well, Pam. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a
Nice to know
safe
we're
one
making it
over there.
overseas.
Yes, we are. In fact, have a look at the Spotify account, because, like I said before, we are now. If you want to listen to us rather than watch us, and I can
Yeah, we're not
understand that
most
to a point.
appealing to look at, are we? So I understand that Spotify's taking off.
But there is actually, if I look on the Spotify account, it is Britain, America, and we're hitting around Europe as well. And just to let
We're
you
going
know,
on our
guys,
own European tour.
we are. I'm just waiting
Well,
for the
United
invite.
States, yeah, can't
You
say
know,
America,
no.
but you know what I mean.
No,
We're going on our
I'm
own
just
world
I'm just
tour
waiting
for
for
ourselves.
the invite over to go and watch a match from abroad. But I think that might be a
Yeah,
long time coming. But I posted the link in the Facebook group. If you have it, as I say, click on that and you can come online and just give us a couple of minutes of what you thought. And if you're on the YouTube, and I know it should show in YouTube, it won't show in Facebook, but I've just put it in the chats there as well. There's the link. Yeah, so 1-1. Barnes had pulled it back. Still wasn't excited at this point, but then the news was coming through that Zoira were up again, beating Athens, and they had a good win in the end of the day, which did us a favour.
yeah.
24 minutes, we're just getting back into the game, and we let them get ahead again.
Yeah, and again, I think, that first half probably showed that some of the tired heads out there from the, and you know what? I've had two ways to go about this tonight, and I'm going to go the way they do it because they're allowed the excuse, but we're not, even though we played the same equivalent times apart in games. It's knackeredness. We played late on a Sunday and played on a Thursday. I'm going to use the Ollie excuse, even though we, played Liverpool and qualified tonight.
Have you just made that word up? Knackeredness. I don't think that is a word, Brad.
Yeah, I think I've been playing too much Scrabble and trying to make words. That's what I've been doing. Too much Scrabble on my phone. But yeah, some of the players tonight, we got the result. That's what matters. And I think it's one of them that you kind of got away. We got away with it a little bit. And you were nearly right with Perez, with what you said.
Wasn't I? And I did say 90 seconds. Although I did have to change it a little bit to say that it would get the equaliser. But got to half time, 2-1 down. I'm still a bit kind of lethargic about the whole game. And I think because it's a league rather than a knockout at this point. And I said to my son, well, if we lose this, we've still got supposedly easier games in the group against Athens, and Zoira. It doesn't really matter what happens tonight. But he did actually say to me, as I got through, as the game went on, I got closer to the edge of my seat and closer to the edge of my seat. And at the end I was cheering. But he made a couple of changes at the end. At the end, he made a couple of changes at half time, and I'm just trying to have a look for what they were, and I think I've lost them. There we go.
Farner came on for Fuchs.
He did, yep, and Tillemans for Pratt.
Tillemans for Pratt.
Now, I didn't think Fuchs, again, looked, like you said, I've got to be honest with you, using your word there, Fuchs did look a little bit, Fuchs looked a little bit knackered, to be honest with you, but
yeah,
for his age, he has played a lot.
I think I might owe Craig an apology. I think on a long-term basis that Fuchs is good, but maybe I owe Craig an apology for picking Fuchs because he's maybe not quite in that best 11. That frailty is shown a bit with his pace today and his ability to do so many games, which isn't his fault. He's got to do this many games.
No.
But he's definitely.
I think when he signed his new contract or the extension, I should say, it was kind of, we need you as sort of backup, and we didn't think that backup was going to be 5 or 6 games, one after another, weekend and midweek. So I think the fact that he's sort of made.
Yeah, the last 2 or 3 seasons, he's already doubled his appearances this this season already, hasn't he? So it was to be expected at some point. I think Vardy 95th saved the blushes a bit, but we got it here in the end. And you can kind of let it go a bit easier than had we lost it tonight, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, we seem to start the second half a lot better than we finished the first. And I thought, oh, it's going
Yes.
to be like a bit of a Man City game. This Casper was having a good game. He kept us in it. I mean, I think without
Yeah.
Casper, we could have been like, and we said at half time in the quick chat, I think we could have been 4 or 5 down had it not
Yeah.
been for Casper just in the first half. But he carried that on in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. He did, and he maybe got a bit fortunate with one of his saves, but the bloke was probably fortunate to get his foot the way it bounced back off Casper anyway. So it was 6 of one, half a dozen the other. But yeah, he was, and he was phenomenal tonight. Should never be allowed to kick a ball unless it's short to Evans or that. But I will forgive him because he makes save after save that keeps us in matches. And it's crazy to be saying that when a keeper's just conceded 3. That's not often. But look, it was one of them where tonight was a tricky one because we all want to win every single game of European. But at the end of the day, it's about preservation of your squad, individual man management. Our injury record, we know, is pretty. The list is long, and hopefully, Touchwood Fofana hasn't added to that list.
Yeah,
we've just got players coming back. There's players that still need to get match fit, like Under clearly because he got, he got half hour today. Perez even managed to get on the pitch. I think Mark even put that as a comment. I think you brought that up. And it was a case of we're 9 points clear. A draw could put us through, which obviously in the end it has. It did put us through because of Dora's win. But a defeat wouldn't have been the end of the world because we'd have still been in a comfortable position to go on and qualify.
I agree. I agree totally. Like I said, we'd still got the 2 games coming up. And I mean, I heard the cheers coming from Mark's house when Inacho got substituted and taken off. I mean, I see why he started with him. I mean, he got the 2 goals in the reverse leg. But as Facebook user says there, it shows we need a striker in January. It's just I don't think Inacho. It's just too sporadic, if you like. I mean, we were shouting and saying like, well, is Rodgers going to get the best out of him? He's turned him round. He's getting the goals, but like he was walking at times tonight. And at one point he was offside. He just was walking back to get on the side. And I'm thinking like, for God's sake, stick a rocket up your arse, and And I know maybe we know he's not a. We know he's not a Vardy, but I just sort of I wanted to slap him tonight and just sort of say, get some work rate in.
I will agree with you on the work rate. I think sometimes he likes to throw his toys out the pram for a bit longer than usual. He has a bit of a habit to do a bit of a Gray on us because I have to say Gray is very susceptible to that when he throws his toys out the pram. That to me is what holds Gray back. And I think a lot of fans would agree with me from what we have seen in odd moments from the pair of them. Once their head goes, they're a different player. They're an absolute total. I'm trying to read that comment, but I'll save it for you to do.
Yeah. I mean, again, but like most energetic cluster of subs I've seen in quite a while. Perez played with his pants on fire. And this is blasphemy, unrealistic, but hasn't Maddison been great as a super sub and not a starter?
I can't disagree with the Maddison part because he's getting minutes on as a sub, and he seems to have a bit more of a purpose about him.
But when he comes on as a sub, you got to think the defense their defense, whoever we're playing, is going to be a little bit tired. So he's not tired because he's not been playing the whole game as the other team has. So I think he'll always sort of be good. And
look at that second half of Vardy. When Vardy came on, their defense looked like they could have defended 190 minutes of our first choice striker for the game. The second Vardy came on, it didn't look like he could play 9 minutes with the way he ran them ragged, especially the way he actually started the move that led to him getting the equaliser.
Yeah. Mark, I will agree with it for today's 45 minutes or whatever he was on for, 67 minutes. I'll agree with you on that. But I think we do need, as I say, and again, just going back to what we said before, we do need another striker.
Yeah.
Perez came on, and I had a little bit of a giggle at you, Brad, when I saw Perez come on. I turned to my son and went, I bet Brad's just had a swallow of scotch or something.
Yeah, because he came on and Perez absolutely ran nowhere again. Did he do anything again?
I think he wasn't useless.
Oh, that's an upgrade then, because I didn't see much more of the same old Perez that I've been seeing when he's come on this season, and it annoyed me. It annoyed me because this running joke, I actually do want to come to an end. I want him to come on and bang in 3 goals and kind of look in the camera and say, that's for Brad, because I watch this channel."
Yeah.
He doesn't. But, if he did.
I mean, if you rate a player from 1 to 10, and we say normally Perez's performances are a 2 or a 3, he was probably
I think
6.
the new 0 was a Perez.
Yeah. He was better than he normally was, and in fairness, he was better than Inacho when he came on.
Then again, that wasn't hard tonight. He's really let me down, and I normally praise Inacho and give him some credit. And it's not a defense, but again, I still stand by what I say about Inacho. He's not a one-man striker. He does need a strike partner. He needs to play like a false 9 role, because he can actually do some nice passes when he wants to.
Yeah. Well, on 67 minutes. 67 minutes, Perez came on. Just about after that, I actually wrote down here that Braga hadn't bothered us as much in the second half. Like I say, I think we came on a lot stronger. Then Evans went and had a miss. I mean, that header, he probably should have scored that.
He should have volleyed it. I think that's what I mean by his mentality's gone a little bit. It's not his quality. I'm not doubting his quality, but I think the mental burn of his last chance for a European competition with his national side, they got knocked out, and then the disaster of performance all round, granted, but disaster of performance for him personally because he got an own goal and we lost the game and played badly.
Yeah,
and then this game, I think he just maybe tried too hard and burnt himself out to try and, especially with Kagler in the back and the way Fofana's playing.
Yeah,
he's going to want to keep his place.
And then it all happened. We got it back to 2-2, and young Luke Thomas got on the score sheet with a Madison assist. I mean, that's going to give the young lad confidence. And at 2-2. And I know Brendan, and it said on BT that Brendan would have known what the score was. I don't know whether the players that ever gets to the players on the pitch, but at 2-2, I'm cheering. I'm up. We are through to the next round. And the youngster scored. He's done well, and then it all went wrong. 2 minutes from time, and it went to 3-2.
Yeah, and first of all, congratulations on Thomas for his goal. Quick fact that I'm stealing off the Statos that give it me, which is Sky Sports. He becomes our youngest ever European scorer in a European competition at his age. Thomas does. He was tonight.
How old is he? How old is he? Do we know?
Is he 19 years and something, 100 and something days? It's either 18. He's either 18 and something days, or he's 19.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact thing. But that was one of the stats from tonight. He's become our youngest goal scorer. And I'm happy for him because he ran his socks off. He ran his socks off. And one thing I will give credit for, if you want to call it the A team, with like the likes of Fofana and Vardy and Tielemans came on and Maddison, one thing I will say is the whole team press got forward. I mean, Fofana, he does not fear anything, does he? I know he was lackluster once he pulled up, but you can forgive him for that and pray it's not a long injury because he looks so good. Yes. He's not afraid to stick a leg in and flick it over, and he looks like he's doing it to try and like take the mix sometimes with some of the flicks he does. Yes. Wow. Please don't be injured. Please don't be injured.
We can't have any more defenders injured. But at 98, and again, I don't know, because obviously I think you were probably watching it on his goal, but I don't know whether they were saying, but certainly on BT, they had a bit of a go at Vardy just before just after the 3-2, because they said, like, why wasn't the ball run into the corner? And, you know, we gave them position for them to get the 3-2. I mean, there was still 2 minutes plus any injury time at that point to play. But like I said before, would the players know that? Brendan obviously would know that. Would the players know that they, you know, we still didn't need a win?
Personally, I think I just like to see the fact that we were going hammer and tongue at getting a result, and then we didn't want to settle for the draw. Obviously, in the end, look, fortune, you know, favoured the brave, and we actually ended up having to settle for a draw, and it ended up looking like more of a snap, you know, more dramatic than it was. But it was nice to see us still attack it, and maybe Brandon knew the score, and there's only one man that will know the answer to that will give you the answer to it, no matter who they interview, and that'll be Brendan Rodgers. He might have known full well, but he would not want his lads to play in that way.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want them knowing that in their heads. Because, like you said, there was always going to be a fair chunk of injury time, purely because of the fact there was 3 goals up until that point before the 90 minutes. Oh God, here we go again. It's your turn now.
I must admit, I have a feeling that might not be Mrs. Twigger. That might be Mrs. Ahern.
Right.
We have Brett's been getting away with it for a couple of programs, because I've not been going on Facebook till after. I went on afterwards the other day, and I saw it was Mr. and Mrs. Ahern. So, to be honest with you, at my age and my looks, Mrs. Ahern, Mrs. Twigger, I'll say hi to both of you, you know, whoever it happens to be.
But yeah, I don't think Brendan would like to, you know, with a couple of minutes still to go in normal time. And with we knew there was at least going to be, I thought at least there's the traditional 3 minutes is going to be on the cards there, which is normally the case.
Yeah.
And does he want to tell the players, get it in the corner and try and do it when a team knows the score and probably knows the situation? I wouldn't be surprised if their manager said, right, it's 2-2, we need to win this game to keep up with these, otherwise we might get caught. And that's why they got the goal they did, because they caught us on the break, and it's
like you say, a bit of a defensive error. But 95th minute, Mr. or God, as we'd like to call him as Leicester fans, 3-3, and you know, at that point we are through. I mean, you know, 95th minute, there was, I think, 4. Well, I saw it on the BT. It went from 3 minutes injury time to 4 minutes injury time, because it clicked over, and then obviously because they scored the goal, we got another minute. But the stats certainly, this is the end of the game stats, looked a lot nicer than they did at half time. Just slightly more possession. Same number. Well, I think we had 13 shots. They had 11. Both had 7 on target. I mean, those were the full time. And then, you know, it looks a little bit better than sort of the half-time ones, to be honest with you. But in fact, they were the full times as well. I've loaded the full time up twice. I was just so excited. But 95 minutes and we are through. And then, well, do you agree with this, the man of the match?
I mean, you have to, really, don't you? I think it's one of them where the moment steals maybe the performance.
I think so.
Let's remember that.
Yeah. I think Alan sort of said when he gave it, he said it was like he gave it because he saved the game for us. I mean, I know Mark, who let me just have a look. He for him, it was Maddison. This just shows opinions on football. And I have to be honest with you,
it was Fofana. It was Fofana until he got.
And for me, I'm going to be honest with you, it was probably Schmeichel.
See, all of us have got a difference of opinion.
Four people there. I mean, I can see why he gave it to Vardy. Definitely, and I wouldn't argue. But you know, and he's like you said, it's the moment stealing the match. But we're all sort of thinking different players. Wasn't the overall though, and you know, you can't argue with the performance where we was, you know, 3 times we were a goal down, 3 times we came back and ended up with a draw, which was enough to see us through. But the overall performance, and I suppose it's not a typical performance, but with Leicester, we all love it when we're up gung ho, up and at them, and I know that Alan gave the team performance a 5 and the manager's performance a 5, and you mentioned it earlier. You've got some views on that?
Yeah, I think in a weird way, this was probably the most, and it's going to sound bizarre, but if you look at the situation before kickoff and you put yourself in Brendan and Rodgers' shoes, that was the most difficult game to put a lineup out, because we're almost qualified. We practically were, but we're not. Well, we weren't at this point, obviously. So, how much do you want to rotate the team? Let the first team rest and be fully ready to respond to Liverpool game against Fulham. And how much do you want? It wasn't the easiest one to do. And first off, we got it wrong. And I think the way, and that's just taking a chance on putting players out of position so certain players can have that rest. And that was a factor as well in that first half. Let's not forget that. And I think maybe the reason it comes to a 5 was probably fair on the basis of it, but I would maybe argue that it was probably a little bit better because of the way you could have easily have stuck with that, cocked it up, and could have lost 4-2, 5-2 tonight, and ended up getting a beating. If you remember a certain Porto, we kind of did the same thing, probably more to a drastic measure against Porto, granted, but we gave the youngsters a chance. And I know George, I said it again, it's Luke Thomas, isn't it? He's going to hate me for that. He's going to hate me for that. I don't know why I keep going to say it. Well, I know why. Because
we had a George Thomas playing before, didn't we? Yeah.
And he's at QPR, not with us anymore, Brad. Come on. Yeah. Luke Thomas, and he featured a lot last season at the back end of it. And we maybe thought before the likes of Fofana and Castagna came in, he might actually, it was looking at one point like he was going to be our season left back for the season. Obviously, he's dropped back down the pecking order with who came in eventually and system, but he's still been around the first team. It's a bit of a risk playing someone like that in a big game when qualifying was on the line and we were looking to win the game, let's be honest, hand on heart. But you've got to put out a team to balance recovering the mental side of losing to Liverpool. If a starting 11, strong 11 had started that game and coming at half time 2-1, how would the mentality have been to respond? Whereas then players like Vardy, Fofana, Tielemans and Maddison were like, now you've got to show your grit. Now you've got to show your grit because the first half hasn't gone to plan. We're 2-1 down. You guys have now got to show your grit and show that the Liverpool game hasn't affected you. And in the end, by hook or by crook, by 95th, 98th, they got there. And I
can't remember the last time, and you could probably correct me on this, but I can't remember the last time when I actually saw or I actually seen Rodgers make substitutions at half time. And to me, that kind of backs up what you're saying, really, because you're saying in a way he looked at it, and normally it'll give players an extra, 15 minutes up to, into the second half to see what happens. But I think tonight, yes, he recognised it, and he made the substitutions that made the difference because we were a different team when those substitutions came on, and those players have got the benefit of not having had. All right, we've got till Monday, so we've got an extra couple of days or an extra day off. They're not playing Sunday this week, but he made the changes. Like I say, I think early enough. I know it was half time, and I've not seen him do that before, and I think he realised it wasn't working, and he wanted to put this group to bed, and I think he did. So I'd probably have given the manager a 7 there, possibly. But the team, I think if you take it overall, I can see why it was a 5. I mean, we can't.
I can agree with the team because as good as they were in the second half, they were probably on a 3 or a 2 for the first half because they were, as a unit, it was hard to watch that first half. It was difficult. I'm not going to lie. I can agree with the team being a 5. Maybe if you're going to be generous because of what happened at the end, you give them a 6. But I think the manager really swung it around in such a way as, even if we'd have lost that game, I was gutted, by the way, at 3-2. I said that to you, I think, that I was gutted, or I might put it in a post. At 3-2, I was gutted because I thought the second half performance warranted getting the result that we got in the end. So
Yes.
I would still give probably the manager a little bit more of a credit for all the stick that he got for getting it wrong against Liverpool. You know, he got 45 minutes wrong, but he took a chance because he wants to rest players, and given our pivotal position before kickoff,
Yeah.
you know, there was no reason they couldn't on a different day if they'd have clicked a bit better. I put Braga, it could have been Leicester 2-1 down if they'd played a bit better. You know what I mean? It's just one of them.
I think we've got to look at the fact that all these, you know, the Premier League, and it's an old saying, but the Premier League and the Europa League, the marathons, not sprints, and you know, you're not going to get every game right, you know, and sometimes, you know, we are, you know, Liverpool was Liverpool. We know they gave us a lesson last season. They've given us a lesson this season, but they probably are the best team, sort of, well, technically in the world still at the moment because they hold that trophy.
64 at home, so I think that's. I mean, I did say at the game, I didn't put anything about the game before it until the full-time whistle. I even say this is why I don't let the press talk get away with it, because they have got an unbelievable squad. Like I said in my post-match after that game, that was a difference between a very good squad, a very good squad, and an absolute world-class squad. And whether you like them or not, Liverpool do have a world-class team. So, you know, and that was the difference that night.
And I'm just going to go back now to a comment that Mark, he asked me a question earlier. If you had to keep one, Chris, who would you pick, Perez or Iheanacho? That is...
Iheanacho.
You see, neither of them, somebody else put there, neither of them, and I'd probably at the moment have to agree with that, because neither of them are doing anything that makes me think we don't need to go out and buy another striker, and they should be making me think that. We still need to
buy another striker, but it might, the last chance saloon you have with probably either of them, unless Iheanacho gets a few goals on his next outing for us, and kind of keeps his record going. You know, if he gets a couple in the next Europa League, because there's less pressure on the next two, despite the fact that obviously we want to top the group, but there's less pressure on them now, and I think that will help even more when the games come thick and fast.
It's going right
now,
be...
if I'm going down on a beacon of hope, Iheanacho with a second striker in January could be a way he wants to go forward with Iheanacho. If he wants to
it's going to be a very interesting January transfer window this year. Last year, obviously, it wasn't as much a disaster. It just wasn't there, you know. But apparently, Ryan Bennett is out on loan, so I don't think we can go for Ryan Bennett again. But I think January is going to be interesting, shall we say. Okay, well, hey, Brad, thanks very much. I'm just going to mention this because we're going to be back on Monday night with the post-match Fulham show. I believe it's an earlier kickoff, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. We're just playing. I can't keep up with all the games at the moment, but they're all different. And then he said, that was me, Chris, and I've still done. It's Facebook user. You could be anybody. You could be Brendan Rodgers. I don't know. If you are Brendan Rodgers saying that you don't want to keep Perez or Iheanacho, let us know. And Mark says there, Iheanacho out, Gray in. No, he's only had one good game, and it was in the 23s.
Ban him. You know. He's not allowed on the TV show anymore. You can't make that statement.
You can't have one good game for the under-23s and score a couple of goals and think that's it. And he did actually say, this is the one I was going to bring up, sitting on the fence, Chris. Certainly am. I've got splinters in my arse. And like I say, at the moment, I've got to be honest with you, I wouldn't keep either of them. But say back Monday night, post-match, whatever time the kickoff is, we'll be here 30 minutes after the kickoff. On Tuesday night, we will be having the normal preview show. And you will remember a couple of weeks ago, we had Barry Pierpoint on, who was Leicester City's first chief executive when we went public back in the 90s. And I think he was our chief executive for most of the Brian Little. And then we obviously remember the Martin O'Neill, Barry Pierpoint time. Very interesting talk. A lot of people said he wasn't what they were expecting. You know, they were expecting somebody totally maybe horrible, to be fair, and he wasn't. But he's put a book out, and the book is called Minding My Own Football Business. I've got a copy on order. It's out on the 7th of December, and it can be pre-ordered, I think, through Amazon. But if you actually Google Minding My Own Fitness, Minding My Own Football Business, it will come up where you can pre-order it. But if you tune in on Tuesday and you are registered and subscribe, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll go in for a draw to win the book. So no questions or no quizzes. It's just going to be a simple pick a number, pull a name out the hat type thing. All we ask you to do is the fact that you must be subscribed to Leicester Till I Die TV on the YouTube channel. And then you can win a free copy. And he'll sign it for you, and he'll put a message in for you, a personal message. So if it's going to be a present for somebody you love, he'll even add that in there. Brad, you could join in and maybe win it for Mrs. Twigger.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
Apparently, it's 5:30 on Monday, so yeah, a little bit earlier. For the poor ones that are working, it's going to be a bit difficult.
Hey, guess what? Rumour has it that the following on the Saturday we have a 3:00 kickoff. Them things are myths. Apparently, Sheffield United, I believe, is still a 3:00 kickoff. Is it not? Is that going to be the myth come true? Or has that been changed?
I think that might have changed. I know we haven't got any games coming up on the BBC. We've got one on Amazon.
One day we'll have a 3:00 kickoff on a Saturday, like it used to be.
Yeah, well, those were the days. You're showing your age now. I'm just going to load up the site here and just see. We've got Sheffield United 2:15 on the Sunday. Is Sheffield United?
I was only 23 hours and 45 minutes off.
You were one job, Brad. What are you doing?
One job.
But like I say, don't forget, guys. You don't have to even be watching the show on Tuesday, but just subscribe to the channel, and you could win a signed copy with a little message saying, "Dear Mrs. Twigger, love you ages. Leave Dale and come out with me, Brad." He'll write whatever you want in there from Barry Pierpoint, and from what we asked of him, he's got some very interesting things to say. But we've got to buy the book. I know, because apparently one Leicester player, and I actually do know who this is now, actually drew a gun on some of his teammates. But Brad, thanks very much.
Cheers, Chris. It's been great.
I won't draw a gun on you. You're all right. You're safe.
Good.
Have a good weekend, mate. Stay safe, and we'll see you on Monday night.
Yeah, I'll see you Monday night. See you later, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. So Monday night post game, Tuesday night for the preview show, and then of course next Thursday we're going to do it all over again. Well, Wednesday we'll be here with Mark for the European show. Thursday post match show. I actually probably need to get a life, I think. Anyway, if you have been listening on Spotify or Google Podcasts or Anchor, there's a few different places you can listen to us if you want to do podcasts. Thanks very much for listening. YouTube, thanks very much for watching. Facebook, thanks very much for watching as well. Thanks to the guys from America, Mark, and everybody else that's been on here this evening. Brett or Dale, whichever one it was with your missus. It's always great to have you on. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back Monday night. Please take care, and remember, whatever you do, stay safe. Bye, guys.
This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Shut up and sit down.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.